Human beings in a mob. What's a mob to a king? What's a king to a god? What's a god to a non-believer who don't believe in anything? Make it out alive. Alright, alright. No church in the wild. I live by you. Desire. I stand by you. Walk through the fire. Your love is my scripture. So let me in to your encryption. Welcome to another episode of The Unrelenting Alchemist, and I wanted to talk to you about Baba Yaga, the High Priestess of Veles, Battlemage, descended, as some say, from Hecate herself. So let's delve into the myth behind the hut. Baba Yaga is one of the most feared and misunderstood figures in Slavic folklore. She's often cast as a grotesque crone who dwells in the forest in a hut perched on the legs of a chicken. But her true identity has been obscured by layers of cultural dilution and superstition. In truth, Baba Yaga is far more than an old witch. She is a trained battle mage. She is an assassin. She is the High Priestess of Veles, of high rank within the Veela, descended, as some say, from none other than Hecate herself, the Greek titaness of witchcraft, death, and transformation. Her legend is one of ferocity, of ritual mastery, of shadow warfare, and elemental control, a figure not just of magic, but of militant devotion and divine balance. So let's talk about the lineage in the shadows. Baba Yaga's origins trace back to the chthonic depths of the world's soul. As a direct descendant of Hecate herself, she inherited not just unparalleled magical ability, but also a metaphysical resonance with the underworld, the crossroads, necromancy, as well as shapeshifting. Hecate's bloodline is not meant for the docile enchantresses. It births witches of storms, death walkers, and fate binders. Baba Yaga's soul formed at the crossing of three worlds, the living, the dead, and the divine. Born under a bleeding moon and hidden by the whispering veils of the Veela priestesses, Baba Yaga was raised to endure tremendous pain, but she also was able to commune with the spirits and see beyond the illusion. Her body was mortal, but her essence was a spell written in the language of long-gone stars and bones. She was trained in the shadow discipline. She trained as an assassin well before she became a mage. Before becoming a battle mage, Baba Yaga was trained briefly in the assassin order of the Pale Crescent, an elite and secretive sect, serving as the enforcers of metaphysical law across the spirit realms. Chosen as a young child for her speed, her stealth, and her innate sense of unseen danger, she was taken into the catacombs of the Frosted Vale and taught the ways of silent death, pressure points, etheric poisons, astral knives, and even the tracking of heartbeats. She learned to kill with razor-like precision, a whisper, and a vanish like breath. Not out of malice, but out of necessity. These missions were not executions, but rather surgical corrections of spiritual imbalances. She eliminated corrupted monks. She exorcised parasitic spirits. And she neutralized heretics who abused forbidden rites. But Baba Yaga was not destined to remain an assassin. Her soul called for something far greater and far deeper. Something one might even regard as divine or holy. When the god Veles summoned her during a midnight mission, surrounding her with serpent fire and calling her a fury of the crossroads. She turned away from her assassin's path and embraced the mantle of priestess and battlemage. For you see, she never forgot her training. It always served her well and sharpened her instincts. It honed her movements, and it continued to allow her to combine brute magical force with deadly militant efficiency. Every gesture she made as a mage carried the lethal precision of a killer trained to strike and disappear. She was the chosen one of Veles. She was the priestess of the serpent god. Veles was the Slavic god of the underworld, of magic, of cattle and trickery. Recognized very early on the potential that Baba Yaga had within her, both the power of her lineage and the discipline of her assassin past. She was initiated beneath the root chamber of Zemay Hill, where Veles appeared to her in his serpent form and branded her soul with his mark, a tri-serpent spiral, glowing black and red. As his high priestess, Baba Yaga became the guardian of liminal magic. She presided over the death rites of kings. She watched the rebirth of broken souls, and she was there when they cast judgments on the spirits wandering too far from their fated paths. Her spells called storms to confuse armies. Her chants could reverse time in sacred spaces, and her potions could restore memory to even the damned. She did not worship Veles as a god above her, but saw him as a mirror of her own path, a deity who understood the power of shadows, the power of serpents, and the secrets that must never be told. She ascended to her battle mage glory, as she was the elemental wrath and the arcane fury that most feared to ever cross paths with. Her devotion was sealed, and Baba Yaga's transformation into a battle mage was complete. Her assassin's blades became rune-etched war staffs. Her potions became elixirs of astral combustion, and her cloaks of silence became mantles of thunderclouds and bone mist. She mastered not just the four elements, but also how to fuse them into lethal, devastating combinations. Lava fire, the combination of earth and fire, used to melt battlefields into rivers of glass. Stormfrost, a union of air and water. She used this to freeze armies mid-stride with a breath of cold, icy wind. Soul flame, a secret fifth element only she and Veles knew, combining spirit and memory to turn emotions into weaponized auras. Her staff, made of ironwood and basilisk spine, could channel lightning, while her gauntlets bore binding runes etched with her own blood. No enemy faced her twice and ever lived to tell the tale about it. She was vengeance, and wrapped in sigils and flame, she was a terrifying sight to behold, perhaps the last sight that most would ever see. In her Veela sovereignty, she became the dark pearl among dancers. The Veela were the Slavic elemental spirits of femininity, beauty, and wind, and they were enchanted by Baba Yaga's might. Through many, Veela sang their mystic lullabies, and they guided wayfarers. Baba Yaga stood among a special caste, the War Veela, the guardians of sacred knowledge and masters of battle. Despite her harsh edge, she was elevated as the Dark Pearl, a position of honor for one who protected not through grace, but through sheer terror. She taught the art of binding song, which fused poetry with necromancy. She choreographed battle dances that opened portals. She even crafted armor from night silk and moon ash for her sisters in arms. To the younger Veela, She was the crone, not an age, but an archetype. She was their endless night and their fierce protector, a reminder that even as maiden beauty fades, a power born of wisdom is constantly eternal. Let's speak of her chicken-legged fortress, the arcane sanctuary, and her spirit engine. The infamous hut on chicken legs was not merely her dwelling. It was her sentient fortress, gifted to her by Veles during the Eclipse War. The structure was crafted of oak imbued with grave root and celestial iron, and its legs allowed it to move across many realms without using a single portal. Inside, the hut could reshape itself to become a weapon, a sanctuary, or a prison. It often housed a cauldron of cosmic memory where she brewed oracle-like prophecies of the future. A library of whispering scrolls, each bound in ghost skin. A vault of assassin relics, including her first dagger, still blood-bound to her will. The hut obeyed her psychic thoughts, her mind, appearing to the uninvited as a ruin or a nightmare, but to her allies as a safe place and a home. It was her heart made wood and fire. Baba Yaga was a warrior of balance. She was justice without mercy, but she understood the balance of dark and light. And what made Baba Yaga revered and feared was her absolute clarity of purpose. She did not act out of cruelty, but of necessity. She once burned a village to prevent the spread of the soul plague. She once banished an entire monastery to the Shadow Realm because its priests were binding serpents into servitude, spirits that were being unnecessarily attacked. Her motto was whispered in death rituals: let the innocent pass, let the guilty weep, let the path remain balanced. She invoked many blood laws older than those among the Slavic pantheon, and she defended the Veela from any type of mortal corruption. And she held counsel with ancient beings like the Koshe, the Deathless, warning them that even immortals must kneel before the balance. When she cursed, the ground remembered. When she forgave, it rained for 7 days. This was the legacy of the moon-born assassin. And despite the wars she endured, the mysteries and the missions that she executed very swiftly, she never sought disciples. Instead, she left behind 7 tablets of obsidian, each hidden in a sacred, separate forest, containing each principle of her philosophy. Power must serve the balance. Devotion must be fierce and personal. The shadow must be honored, not feared. The veil is a gate, not a wall. Death is a mirror, not an ending. Sacrifice is the root of true magic. All things born of love and war carry both holiness and danger. Those who sought her path must first find these tablets and survive the many guardians and spirits who defended them well. In conclusion, Baba Yaga was the feared priestess with a blade and staff. The battle mage Baba Yaga was not simply a tale that was whispered to frighten children as the boogeyman that came in the night. She was a mythic archetype of integrated power, and she combined warrior skill, magical precision, ancient lineage, lethal assassin skills with a brutal love for the divine. Her time as an assassin gave her the edge that made her an unmatched battle mage. Her bloodline tied her to Hecate's legacy of both death and moonlight. Her devotion to Veles forged her into a beacon of unbreakable law, and her leadership amongst the Veela made her both a queen and a mother, a crone and a vicious killer. She is the shadow that guards the light. She is the blade behind the blessing. She is Baba Yaga, and she is the battle mage of the gods, the high priestess of the tri-serpents, and the last hope when chaos rises. I thank you again for joining me in this sacred hour. This has been the Unrelenting Alchemist. And lest we ever forget, until next time, keep walking wisely, keep walking bravely, and when the darkness calls, you answer not with fear, but with fire and light. Take care.
And if I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I love you.